Hey guys, Ian Flanagan here, and in this interview we have Vanessa Nunez. She is an absolute beast down in Austin, Texas. She sells a ton of real estate, and her story is absolutely incredible. So, if you're one of those women that are looking for that grit and drive to help you get to the next level, Vanessa is one of those people that can really pour into you and help you get there. She's going to share a lot of her life story, the things that she does today to help her sell a lot of real estate, what she feeds her mind, her soul. She's such an inspiration. So I hope you really enjoy this interview.
It's like a fine bottle of wine. You're either
Yeah.
going to open it up and you're going to love it, or you're going to open it up, it's vinegar, I'm pretty straight shooter. So
Yeah.
what you got for me? Tell me what you want to know. And I'm here to share.
All right. Well, hey, tell us about your real estate career. How did it get started? What were the challenges that you faced and how did you get rolling?
Well, number one, failure was not an option. I had just moved from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, which everybody says, oh my God, why'd you move from paradise? So I kind of did life backwards. Straight from college, I went and lived on an island. I had very successful restaurant, coffee shop, so forth. And then welcome to 2008 when everything plummeted. So my now ex-husband, ironically, he is my inspector. So people in Austin know him quite a bit. So it's very funny sometimes when people don't really realize that's my ex-husband, and the deal on the other side is like, hey, that's my inspector, I had him first. I'm like, huh, well, that's debatable. So anyway, so failure wasn't an option. So I moved to Austin and just kind of started rolling. 6 weeks, had my first deal, and made up my mind I was going to be rookie of the year. For the record, didn't know there was a rookie of the year, and so just kept rolling from there.
So let's break that down a little bit. I know we have a lot of new agents here. We have a lot of seasoned agents on the call.
Mhm.
So talk about that. So 6 weeks in,
6 weeks in, I did my
what were
first
you
deal.
doing to generate business?
Being me, myself, and I, every day I would sit at a different coffee shop. And I know that was a little hard for people understanding in COVID, but every day I'd pick a different coffee shop and I would open my laptop and I would just look at property. And then I would find property that was vacant or what have you. And inevitably somebody would ask me, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing work. And they're like, wait, what do you mean? So I was kind of doing the EXP model before I ever knew the EXP existed. I was never a, go into the office sort of person. I never worked for the big brands out there.
Sure.
They just never felt right to me. Coming from being an entrepreneur my entire life, my dad was like, hey, you need to learn to type. I said, hey, I'm going to be a CEO. I don't need to learn to type. So I just have always been a self kind of initiator, self go-getter, and very disciplined in my daily sort of grind. So that's how I
So that's
started. And
how
I
that's
start
how you got
talking.
it started. Yeah, you just started
That's
talking to
it.
people and moving through
It's it.
business. So
And
obviously,
I took not
go ahead.
being a secret agent, literally. Don't be a secret agent. So,
Right? Talk to as many people as you can
yep,
every single day, right?
yep,
So let's talk about Austin, Texas. So I'm up in
yep,
Dallas.
yep,
So we're in the triangle. We're in a
yep.
ferocious market. What have you seen Austin evolve into today from when you started? Because it is unbelievable.
So the very first house that I sold was 50,000. Okay. That same house today is 750,000. So does that tell you anything? Same house. And let me tell you, I was told, what are you doing selling over there? That's where all the crack houses are and so forth. But I understood you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. So go find some place that's just a little bit out. And in Austin's theory, you drive until you can buy. But this happened to be in East Austin where it was 5 minutes from downtown. Why wouldn't it be a good investment? Because
Yep.
there's only so many radius close to downtown. So
Yeah. So
anyway.
thinking back on that, you're probably like, oh my gosh, like why didn't I buy 100 homes?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So but Austin is a crazy market, that's for sure. And we have a lot of big hitters. We've turned into a serious luxury market, which we never had a $50,000 property in Austin. What are you talking about? 50, I
Yeah.
mean, $50 million property. I'm like, what? And now they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I'll
Yeah,
tell
well,
you that.
the hill country is absolutely stunning. And guys, and if you have not been to Austin, Texas, make some time to get out west to the Texas hill country. Go out to Lake
Yep.
Travis. It will blow your mind. It reminds me a lot of San Diego. When you're driving through the highways of San Diego,
Yep.
you see the rolling hills with the big, huge houses way up in the hills. That's
Yep.
what it looks like out there west. So let's talk about that luxury market, right?
Yep.
So what does that look like? Are there a group of agents that control it? Because I know here in
Yes.
Dallas,
Absolutely.
Allie Beth Allman are the big heavy hitters. They sell the 30, $50 million
Yep.
properties, and you know, what does
Absolutely.
that look like? What's that?
It's kind of crazy. They definitely control it. There is a group of agents that they're called the Elite 25, and the Elite 25 definitely control it. And that was, it's funny because when I got in the business, hitting 25 million was my goal. Like, because that to be an Elite 25. So 10 years ago, Elite 25, you were doing 25 million. Okay. Well, to put into perspective, guys, I'm hitting 25 to 30 million this year. And I am not in the Elite 25 anymore. Unless you're doing 70 million plus, you're not going to be in the Elite 25.
That's insane.
Uh-huh. I mean, it's insane. And I've
Wow.
done 52 transactions already this year.
Wow.
Not even enough. So what I decided to do is focus on, I go all the outer. I mean, do I have deals in Austin? Absolutely. But I decided to take my business and focus GPS will travel. So I've got a deal closing down in San Antonio. I've got a deal closing in Fredericksburg. I got a deal closing in Marble Falls. So I'm going to drive.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that and say, okay, where am I going to go with my business?
Yeah, that
So
was going to be my next question. That 52, where did those transactions come from? And you just alluded to that because smart entrepreneurs, they just make a shift. They don't go, "Oh, the market's tough. I can't get listings. I can't get offers accepted."
right. That's, I have a lender that actually has looked at me and she said, you know what, if I could take what you do and bottle it, I would be phenomenal at what I do as a lender, because no one's getting things under contract yet. You are.
Oh,
So there's a way to get things under contract, guys, and you just have to be smart about it. How are you using your business? Are you just staying local? When COVID hit, I decided, you know what? Austin's nuts. They're crazy with masks and everything. Whoop. I went around to the Hill Country. I joined 4 other MLSs and just started hitting it hard over there.
so let's talk about that. Hitting it hard. So you're moving into a new market. What's your focus? What are you going to do? You're going to go hit the coffee shops? You're going to do circle prospecting? How do you penetrate new markets?
Well, I've been slowly penetrating as a buyer's agent. So when you've got deals where I was working with the builder and he looked at his agent and he said, she's gunning for your job. I've built 6 houses. She sold 4 of them. What does that tell you?
You're out
So,
hustling. You're out working them.
and so it's like, you've got to know, if you don't understand the market as a macro, there's no way you can understand it as a micro. So I understand the entire market as a macro so that I can go micro.
Yeah.
So I think that's the philosophy, is what we do in business. If you don't understand what you're doing on a big scale, there's no way you can understand it on the minute scale.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, and there's so many niches, right? We hear the term niche down, and
Uh-huh.
obviously luxury agents is a luxury niche, investing is an investing niche, and then you
Yep.
have first-time home buyers. There's all these different type of niches. So what would be a suggestion for you, to the group and agents that are looking to expand their businesses? Like, how do you stay focused and generate business?
I think what's important is that you've got to be learning. What are you doing for yourself? Or when do you get up? Let me just start with that. How do you start your morning? What time do you get up?
It's a good one.
Are you up before anybody else? I am in my house. I'm up before 5 a.m. I do my meditation. I get myself right. So if you're not taking the time to get yourself right, there is no way that you can get anything else right.
Yep.
That's the basis.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously being in real estate for as long as I have, I'm 17 years in, and I'm working more now on my mindset, meditation, and I've seen so much more impact in the last 6 months of how I respond, how I think, how I manage all the aspects that real estate. Because I tell a lot of new folks in real estate, like, you've got to get used to getting punched in the face every day and tasting that
Oh,
blood and keep pushing
absolutely.
through it, because right, you're unemployed every day.
That's what I tell that every agent. That is the first thing I tell them. Just understand, every day you wake up, you're unemployed. Every single day. Whatever you did yesterday, it's gone. So what are you going to do today? So I kind of contribute my things to being stubborn about my goals, but I'm flexible about the methods.
That makes
So
sense.
I'm very stubborn about what it is that are in my goals, but I'm also flexible with how it goes, because if you don't shift and flow, you're not going to be able to make it. It's like when
Yeah.
COVID hit, you know what? I didn't stop my business. I literally started going out to the hill country where nobody was wearing a mask. You wouldn't even know what was going on. and people were still doing business.
That's right.
So I shifted. But when you shift, what are the equities that you're building your foundation on? Do you have equities? I have 7 personally that I look at and that I attribute to making my goals and so forth. So if you guys would like to know what those 7 are, I'm
Yeah.
happy to share that with you.
Elaborate. Yeah,
So
let's go deep.
well, what I end up doing is, of course, mindset. I've been one of those people that I've been studying and reading Og Mandino. I knew who Grant Cardone was 10 years, probably before anybody else did in this company. I've followed him for years. So mindset is number 1. So then I look at my health. Okay, what am I doing for my health? Am I eating right? What am I doing to make sure that I keep that engine going? Because you got to put gas in your car, right? So what is it that you're doing for your health? So then I look at my hustle. What am I doing for my hustle? What am I out there every day doing that's bringing me the business in? Then I look at my spiritual. Some people it's going to church, some people it's meditation. It's whatever it is that is your spiritual side. What is it that you're doing for yourself? Are you journaling? Then I look at my money. So how am I creating my money? How's it working for me? Where is it going? And that is, I will tell you, is always a work in progress, because I'm a kind of I call myself a master manifester. So I've always manifested everything I need and more. Then I look at my social. So what is it that I'm doing? Do I have friends? Do I have people that no matter what I can count on? And who is in that circle? Are they emotional vampires? And if they are, and they're, I ask myself the 3 questions. How do I feel when I'm with them? Do I feel happy, neutral, or exhausted?
And we know where that's going.
So, and if it's exhausted, guess what?
Yes.
You're not in my circle.
Out.
So, do you know what I mean? And that could be clients. It's
Yeah.
okay to fire a client,
Refer. That's the beautiful thing
refer.
about having
I do.
clients.
There's some groups of people that I refer out all the time. Said, you know what? I'm so busy. I don't think you'll get the attention you need from me. So let me give you to somebody who I know can give you the attention. Then
Yeah.
I look at my family and my relationships. I think that that's important. You need to look at your family and your relationships. So that's kind of the things that I do. Those are my 7 equities that I have to look at on a daily basis.
No, that's beautiful. I wrote them all down, and they're all so important. So let's talk a little bit about. So I want to ask you a little bit one
Sure.
more thing before we kind of shift over to the elephant in the room, right?
Yep.
The $6 billion global gorilla.
Yep.
So, and I think this can benefit everybody. So let's talk about sphere of influence, because
Yep.
every top producer that I hear, that I come across, icon agents, they all say the same thing. I built my business through my sphere. So tell us a little bit about how you nurture your sphere and your past clients to generate more future business.
I'm a little unconventional than most people, I would say. In my sphere, I am a sphere-based agent, but I've done different contests where if, one year I did, if you were to refer me 5 clients that close in a year, you're going to go into a drawing and the winner gets it was a green egg. So when they were really big, so I gave away $1,000 green egg. And of course, it's something that you have to do for everybody. Even if they weren't your clients, could they be in it? Yes, of course. You give me 5
Sure.
referrals, whatever it is. So if you got me 5 referrals in a year and we were in discussion, then you automatically went in. I didn't just do it with closed deals, but that was kind of the incentive. But I belong to a lot of wine clubs. I randomly give out wine all the time. I do big wine parties. I flew in a country music artist earlier this year, and we had a concert out at the winery. It was great. It was fun. So I do different things. Again, I'm pretty unconventional.
Yeah.
I randomly will call my clients and say, hey, show up, what have you. Um, it's just a little bit different.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that,
And
because
on the mindset, you missed family and relationships. That was the last one.
that's right.
Megan, from Megan. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this transition. Obviously,
Yep.
head down, crushing it, killing it, and all of a sudden someone mentions EXP and you swat it away. So let's talk about that. What did that look like? How did they get your attention? And
Well,
What's that
funny
look
thing
like?
is, you can ask Elizabeth Riley. Jean Frederick tells the story all the time. I'm that one person that said, no, 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 I get it. Just let me sign up. No, 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 you got to see the presentation. No, 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 I understand it. Like I saw the numbers immediately. I'm like, let me sign over. So I've been in obviously 5 years, which technically my restart date is November 1st. And I was like, no, 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 I need to see it. I don't need to see it. I get it. I understand it. And so they kept wanting to show it more to me. And I kept saying, no, I get it. And the reason I understood it is because, wait a minute, hold on. And I was really focused not so much on attracting, which now I have like 13 in my organization. I do not have a big organization, but I was really focused on icon because I knew that if I could prove myself as an icon and become an icon continuously, and if I could teach other people to do that, then that is like, okay, I got it. And that's what I've done. I've actually focused getting people to icon. So in my organization, I may be small, but they're icons. So
Yeah,
what does that tell you? We're all
that's
producers.
amazing.
So that's kind of where I went with it. But now I've got a bigger goal, which is 10, 10, 10. 10 years, 10,000 agents, $10 million rev share.
Right.
So but I was the one that got it right away. Like there was no, like I kept saying, no, stop. I don't, I just put me over. I got to write a contract. I have a
Yeah.
$725,000 deal I got to put in.
Yeah.
So please, like, just sign
Yeah.
me up.
So who's your sponsor?
Elizabeth Riley.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm in Elizabeth's organization too. So she is an amazing human being. And those of you that don't know Elizabeth, she's the one that brought Gene Frederick over and basically launched Texas. And I was a part of that up in Dallas when Rob was living in my backyard. So I remember the very first lunch and learns when Rob Flick was telling the story about Glenn and Gene
Yep.
and all that. So how has the you becoming an icon? I mean, the financial side to that, because I
Uh,
mean, will you just give it
is
a
any other broker made you a millionaire just by doing what you did with every other broker? No, that's been my biggest thing. Everything I've done here has not changed. It's everything I was doing for the other broker.
yeah.
Everything.
But now you get a piece of a multi-billion-dollar pie.
Exactly.
How many shares
I
of
don't
stock?
see how people don't understand it.
I know. How many shares of stock have between your direct purchase and then your awards? Because we had a huge split, and you were probably tickled over the moon.
Oh yeah, 20 some odd thousand, 30,000,
Yeah,
somewhere in that range.
pretty significant.
Pretty significant.
Yeah, that changes life, right? That
Yeah.
that changes the direction that you go. And
Why my car says EXP stock. My license plate, that's my license plate on my BMW, EXP stock.
so you were hitting the ground running. So what's been some of the response when you do deals with other agents? Obviously, EXP is no longer we're out of obscurity.
Yeah, well, it's very funny because several people who all said, I'm the one that introduced everything to EXP to them and everything else, and they've signed up with many other people. So I've been very good at telling people and explaining, but not very good at making sure that they understand the situation. But I'm all glad that they're here. That's the
Yeah.
inevitably, it's that you're here and you get it. I don't have a problem sharing necessarily EXP or helping other people. Today, this afternoon, I'm going to meet another agent who's in someone else's organization but was my mentee. So I'm helping
Yeah.
her bring a couple young people over. Um, I think it's the smartest way that you can set up your life. I mean, do you want to set up your life or do you want to continue to set up your broker's life? It's up to you.
That's such a good one right there. Yeah, I mean, because that's the reality of it. And I like saying this too, because how many times have we heard, should I rent a property or should I buy a property?
Well, I've always been, I've never done, I've done like 5 leases in all my years. I give my leases away
Yeah.
because I'm the one that convinces people they need to purchase. The only
Yep.
leases I'm doing is because they're there for the year while we're custom building,
Yeah.
like literally custom building, not buying, one
Yeah.
of the production
Yeah, that's
builds.
kind of where I'm going with that. Was it's kind of what you had just alluded to. Are you going to work on your financial future or your broker's financial
Right.
future? And that's the difference that we have with EXP. And it's so different. I think a lot of agents on the surface, they don't know what they don't know. So they
Exactly.
have no connection to what it is that we do. And it's either an ego issue of, no, I'm great, I'm fine. Like, and you have that feeling like, no, I really want you to see this, right? Like this can really benefit you. So what's that approach when you're talking to agents? Obviously,
My question now is tell me, why not EXP? Why aren't you here? Why?
Just, and
T-
just sit
t-
back and listen.
just sit back and listen. Why aren't you? I'm just curious. Like, I just want to know. Like, help me out. Help me understand why not?
Yeah. Oh, we've heard all the different things about, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. It just is what it is. I have never before in my life, and I've been in some big rooms, being in the investing world,
Mm-hmm.
traveling around the country, speaking at events. I have never seen a group of real estate entrepreneurs with the success, the people that at EXP.
Correct.
Like when you go into those rooms and you look around and it's just like, OMG, it's
No.
just one after the next, after the next, after the next. We've all seen this. I mean, people can sell a lot of real estate, but selling real estate doesn't create multi-million-dollar equity
No.
positions.
But the thing is, everybody is willing to help you. That in itself, the collaboration, that's what I think people miss out. I have never in my life, and the reason I never went to any of the big things because I could see it from the outside. I'm pretty intuitive and I always follow my intuition. And because when I don't, it bites me. So I learned early on, like, wait a minute, these are all the things that you're saying, but none of this is true. I went, this was back when Keller Williams was first getting in and they kept trying to attract me and get me in, recruit me more or less. And I said, okay, great. I'll meet with you until I get every single one of the books. So for me, if you weren't going to give me one of his books, I wasn't going to meet with you at Keller Williams. So when I got all 5 books, that's when I told him, no, Keller Williams is not for me. I feel like it's Amway. I'm done. But the only way I was going to meet with them if they were going to give me a book.
Yeah,
So I used it as knowledge. Did I read all the books? Yeah, absolutely. Found that one piece of information from each and said, okay, great, I'm good.
yeah,
But I think that's what it is in our approach is that, you know, somewhere in the back of people's minds that in any one of ours, including mine, it was like EXP, it's like you were almost afraid to say, hey, why not EXP? You were afraid of what that response was. Don't be afraid of what the response is. You know, the first step is a decision. So until you do the decision, that's it. All it takes is massive action to follow it.
yep. It's just like anything in life, right?
Yeah. I told somebody I was running the other day, and this was before I taught my class on Monday. And it really hit me. It says, when you're ready to turn your mess into a message, that is when you're ready for your best life.
Wow. How's that impacted you?
I just think in mess could be anything. It's like when, could be the things that you're thinking that you're telling yourself, it could be anything. So when you're ready to say, yeah, I'm over that. That BS has got to stop. So when the minute you're ready to turn that into a message, that's the minute you're going to create your best life. I've kind of followed my own life. Like I said, I lived on an island. I went there with $2,000 in my pocket straight from college. I end up owning 2 restaurants, a coffee shop, 3 houses on an island. Do you know anybody that did that? The option is not to fail. I mean,
Yeah,
you're like, okay, I got $2,000. That's it. That's all I got. And in the middle of it was devastated by a hurricane in
yeah,
1995, right after it. So lost everything, like everything, like nothing. What I had was a clothes on my back. So the worst. So what's the worst?
yeah.
After you go through that in life, what's the worst? Nothing. So somebody's going to tell you no. So what?
Yeah, next. Yeah,
You know?
we interviewed
And
Hans Pratt last week, and I asked him a question about rejection, and he didn't know, and he just like, that doesn't exist. It's just next. I actually put
yeah,
next on my. I'm looking at it. I have the word next in green, really bright.
yeah. So why are we so afraid of that 2-letter word? Why? Be it with your clients and your sales or whatever. I'm like, okay, so
Yep,
what? I've just got my own pattern down to where I can get somebody a house, and basically the first one I take to it, I do all my work beforehand. So I don't waste a lot of time. We go to 3 houses and we go back to the very first one. You're right. It's the first one. I
gotcha.
just listen. I go back and I really listen to what's on the other side. Are you listening to what's on the other side? Or are you
Yeah,
just there ready to respond?
that's a good thing. So let's dive into that for a second. And guys, I'm going to open it up for questions here in a moment, but type your names if you want to ask a question, just so I can call on you to make the audio smoother. But let's dive into that. So, what's your method when you are representing a buyer? Just not waste your time and find them exactly what they want.
I understand their lifestyle. So, what I tell them when we start the process, I'm like, hey, I don't care what the cost of the house is. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's on the market, off the market, whatever. Just shoot me something that you really love. Here it is. I don't care if it's theoretically, whatever it is, just send it to me. As soon as I understand what their style is, then I go, okay, what is your lifestyle? Because for us in Austin, it's not about you're going to drive. Inevitably you're going to drive. So if you're not living around the things that you love, you're going to have to drive to work anyway, so why not just drive to work and come
Yeah.
home and be in the place that you love?
Yeah.
So I
Well,
see somebody has a
awesome.
question.
Yeah, that's Mr. Robert, our bud, our REO guru out in California. Robert, floor's yours, buddy.
What's up, my brother? Hey, Vanessa.
Hey,
Wow,
Robert.
powerful story. I love your tenacity and your fire and that willingness to just say no is not an option. It's not even
Yeah.
in my vocabulary. So first of all, I want to thank you for being on this call. My question for you is time blocking. You have so many things going on. You're just a complete rock star. Talk to me about your time blocking schedule. I mean, from the morning you wake up to the time you go to bed, what does that look like?
So, you know how I created something called your inner CEO? So, every class I've ever created was because it's something that I needed. So, what I realized is time blocking did not work for me. Did not understand time blocking. Don't like, you can put everything, I can put all this shit on my calendar. But guess what? If I'm not understanding how to manage myself, how can I manage my time? So, it's first learning how to manage yourself, then you can learn to manage time. It's self management first.
And commitment, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Commitment, discipline, all of that.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so inspired by you. You're amazing. I just love hearing your story. I'm sitting here writing notes, taking all these notes. I'm like, this is fantastic. I love these calls. Thank you
Well,
so
Yeah.
I
much,
enjoy
Vanessa.
it. And if anybody, like anytime, I mean, I truly mean this. I am one of the few people that truly, when they say, does Vanessa answer her phone? Vanessa actually answers her phone, and Vanessa will respond to your text immediately. Email's a little slow and chat is a little bit slow, but text and phone calls are immediate. So if anybody ever has anything, I have an open door policy.
Yeah,
I don't care where you are.
that's the great thing about our company, right? We can
Yep.
literally reach out to everybody through Workplace,
Yep.
and pretty much everybody is very responsive. And
Yep.
that's what I've learned. People that succeed at higher levels are typically more responsive, more giving, and all that. Let's talk about this, the Alchemist Project, becoming
Yep.
your. You've touched on it, but really dive into that, becoming your
Your
inner.
inner CEO. So if you all of us are CEOs. Every one of us are a CEO in our business. But guess what? Not everybody's the CEO of their internal thoughts. So you have to first understand yourself, understand how you it's just you got to have self-awareness first before you manage your time. So when people go, if you don't know who you are, how are you going to manage yourself, or how are you going to manage yourself socially? How are you going to interact with people? So it's really learning to adjust that inside and what that inside looks like, because that's your mess. Most of the time, truthfully, the mess is on the inside.
Yep.
So the Alchemist Project is really about defining I am. And then from there, if you can't define yourself and you don't know who you are, the most powerful words are I am. And anything else that follows that, it goes right into manifesting what it is that you want. So if you tell yourself, and that's why I tell my kids when they say I'm stupid, I'm like, no, you're not. Stop saying that. Just because you don't understand something, you have to understand something before you can don't call yourself stupid. You're not. And so that's the biggest thing, that it's inside the house as well, because I have my son and I have my chosen daughters, my stepdaughters. And so a lot of times it's been very hard for my husband to look at, and he says, I don't understand. He said, I look at you and I look at your son. And I said, well, you can't do that, and don't compare. The first thing you can do is, if you're comparing yourself to me and you're comparing yourself to how I raised my son, you didn't have the same start. So you can't compare that. There's no comparison. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday. And are you better yet today than you were yesterday? That is it. Comparison is a killer. So those are all the things that I teach in these courses.
So how do people get connected to you and learn more about that? Are you doing icon sessions?
Yeah, I
Where?
do icon sessions. I teach in the icon every third Monday at 11 a.m. So I've have the series, Becoming Your Inner CEO. I just did the goal class because I do that every year, and I help people understand how their goals are. And then usually if you reach back out to me, I'll say, hey, here's the worksheet. And if you want to do a one-on-one, or you want me to come, if you want me to drive to Dallas and you have a group, sure, I'm happy to do that. So I've got some agents in Dallas I can pull over as well. So I'm really open to helping people understand, because if you don't start with yourself, there is no way you can build the business that you want, nor can you build the organization you want, nor can you help the other people unless you're really helping yourself first. It's the reason that they tell you to put the mask on first
Yeah,
when
that's
you're on when you're in the airplane. There's a reason.
yeah. That's a big reason. Looking at our founder and just innovative, fearless leader, Glenn Sanford, making that purchase of Success Enterprises, because
Yep.
real estate professionals at the core that succeed at the highest level, they focus and understand how important self-development is. And I'm sure you were in Dallas, a month
Yep.
ago.
I
How,
was.
how incredible was that session with Tony
Amazing.
Robbins?
It was amazing. That's where the 10-10-10 came out of. What came out of Tony Robbins for me? All I kept hearing was 10-10-10, 10-10-10. And in my inner self, and I said, okay, what does that really look like for me? So I said, okay, great. So in 10 years I'll be 61. So I'm like, you know what, fuck that, I don't want to be selling. I want to make sure that I got everybody else and turning my business over to my son and
Right.
my stepdaughter. So what is that going to be? I've told them when they turn 18, no matter what, no excuses, you get your real estate license. That's it. You need to always have a backup plan to work for yourself. So that's how it is. But 10 years, 10,000 agents, 10 million in rev share. That's
Yeah.
it. That's my goal. That's it. So, and what that means is, how else can I help you get 10-10-10? What is it that I'm doing to help somebody else get 10-10-10?
Yeah. And we know that back end rev share goal is about how much you pour into other people.
Correct.
And we know that, right? Because I've been
Yep.
building for 5.5 years, and it like the longer you're in the game of recruiting, the more you realize that it's not about you, and it is all about how you can help and impact other people. And that's what's so incredible about the alignment that we have at EXP. I mean, just like yourself, and there's top producers all over the country that we could text in a moment and set up a phone call with, that are high level producers. They sell 5, 6, 7, 800 homes a year. And that's
Yep.
just incredible. So let's get to the chat here. There were some people, Megan was asking, hey, is there a book that you would recommend for mindset that you would love, that you love?
I think if you haven't read and starting out, and if you're not a big reader, this is a really easy read. It's called The Greatest Salesperson in the World by Og Mandino. If you haven't read that book, it's such a small book, but it's so fast to read. So it grabs your attention in a
So
subtle manner.
how did that impact you? So elaborate on that.
Gosh, I read that book when I was 21. So now I'm 51. And I still read it every so often. Well, technically I do Audible. So let's start there, because I'm in my car all the time. So I do Audible all the time. So
I do
guys,
the
if you
same
looked at
thing.
my Audible, you'd be like, damn, how many books do you have in there? I think that it just really impacted my life, that said, you know what, the gift is within inside yourself. And if you keep that, and that's kind of where I always like, is when I got into real estate, don't be a secret agent. I kind of always knew that. Don't be afraid what's inside, because every one of us have something to share. Every one of us have a story. You have no idea how you're going to inspire the next person. So when people say, what is your absolute passion? What is your purpose in life? I know what my purpose in life is. My purpose has always been to inspire somebody to be better today than they were yesterday. But I started that off with myself. How can I inspire myself today to be better than I was yesterday? So I run with an app called Pep Talk, and I listen to it all the time. I think it costs money. I'm not sure. I think it does. So I'm not trying to promote something or tell you guys to
Yeah, of
spend money
course.
or whatever, but this is just what I've done. I've always been in search of what is going to help me be better today. And in turn, that helps me help somebody else be better. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of haters out there, guys. So don't think I don't have haters. You're always going to have haters, but I don't really care. It's not my responsibility. My responsibility is not to think of what somebody else thinks of me, because what they think of me is a perception that they think they see. They have no idea who I am. Do you know how many people that have come to me after they've gotten to know me and said, "Oh my God, I had no idea who you were. I just made an assumption of what I see." And
Isn't that crazy that society does that?
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's like I lived in a glass house. Living on an island, you live in a glass house. Okay. You literally live in a glass house. If you don't think that coconut line is already passed on what's happened in your life and you didn't even know what happened in your life, go live on an island, because it will happen. And so paradise is a state of mind, guys. First off, let's think about that. So if you're not in your right mindset, there is no way you can be anywhere else. What is my disc personality? I'm a high D, a high I. S and C, please, for the love of God, don't ask me to organize anything. For the love of God, I'll pay somebody to do that.
Sure.
I mean, I do have an organization myself, and like I'm very organized in my own sense. Does that make sense? But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
but
No, that does make sense.
you know, paradise was always, I mean, I would have people all the time ask, how could you ever left St. Thomas? Well, because paradise is a state of mind. That's it. If you don't love where you live every day, you know what? I grab my coffee first thing in the morning and I sit outside and I'm so filled with gratitude on, I just love my home. Like I just love it. I love the space I've created. I love it. And if you're not loving your space, then you better figure out how to love your space. Because if you can't love where you are, you'll never get where you want to be. You have to love where you are.
So powerful. That's a powerful message. Because it sets the framework, right? It sets the
Yep.
framework for every day, the way that you think, the way that you perceive, the way that you set your goals, the way that you
Mm-hmm.
attack the day, crush the day, however you
Yep.
want to call it.
Yep.
So that's interesting. We've interviewed a lot of people, and um, it's great to hear you say that, because obviously, you know, we're trying to become better versions of ourselves, the desired self, right? The goals, whatever that looks like in life, and it really starts with what you just said:
Yep.
gratitude, loving your surroundings. I
Yep.
love that. Let's see here. We had, I just wanted to make sure we get to everyone. Sheila, were you talking about, was it The Greatest Salesman in the World was the book that you read very,
Yes.
very
Yep.
early on? Okay.
Yep. And then from there, I started at Think and Grow Rich. I mean, this is all stuff I read when I was 21. So you're talking 1991, 1992,
Yeah.
long before anybody else.
Yeah. That was
Seven
that,
Habits of Highly Effective People. These are all the things that I was doing at 21. So, which allowed me to be able to do what I did, pick up and move to an island with $2,000 in my pocket. I didn't know a damn soul on the island. Never even been there, guys. Never even had been to the island. Just said,
that's
this is where I'm
crazy.
going to go live. And I
And
did.
what was that, on a whim? Did you see it in a book? Did you hear about it?
No,
Like,
no. Like I told you, like weird things. Like I want to live on an island. I want to live on an island. And I go, okay, what would be the easiest one? Okay, here you go. There's 3 islands: St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix. Okay, well, don't want to do St. Croix because there was a massacre in 1988. So, you know, this is,
the thought process.
1994. So I'm like, the thought process, well, that one's out, because the 3 there was like, oh, these will be the 3 easiest because they're US territories. Okay. So, said, okay, well, St. Thomas, that has a good industry because it's tourism. Okay, I can do this. All right, that's where I'll go. That
Yeah,
was literally the thought process.
that's amazing. I mean,
So
talk about the cojones to do that, especially as a young woman,
yeah, I was
right?
25. Yeah, I was 25 and I lived there until I was 40.
Wow. Wow. How amazing is
And
that?
then I came here and I moved in the middle of a hurricane, literally drove into Austin from Houston, because I was coming from Houston to Austin during the hurricane. That was in 2010, September 5th, 2010. Like that's when I arrived to Austin. And then
Wow.
3 months later, I had my real estate license.
That's amazing. Well, Frank, thank you so much. He actually dropped the file right there in PDF. The book that you
Yep.
recommended is there. It is for
Yep.
everybody. So click on that, download it. Yeah, I'm an Audible. I can just literally crank out book after book after book on audio.
Yep.
I have it's like my mind is just constantly going, right? And I'm trying to, I wouldn't say train myself, but trying to get into the mindset of, hey, let me slow down and focus on this. But when you're an entrepreneur and there's a lot of things going on, it's tough to make that time.
Yeah, well, you're in the car all the time. So there it is. If I'm not listening to a book, it's silent. I don't listen to music at all. Like at all. I don't listen to music.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't like music, but it's because my mind is always going, but the quiet time allows me time to think. So when I'm in the gym, what am I working out to? Everybody's like, "Oh, what are you listening to?" I don't know. Hold on. Let me see the book that I'm listening to right now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like this, and they look at me like I'm weird, or I'm listening to a podcast. I'm always putting something in.
Yeah.
So I need people to pour into me. So why wouldn't I go to the masters that have already done the things?
That's right. That's right. That's amazing. That's amazing. So who else? Who else has a question? If you want to open up your mic or type it into the chat, whichever one. So let's talk about more books. Is there any? What's the next one?
Um, I'm going to pull up my list because I
What's
think
current?
my current book that I just bought, I've been waiting for it. So I read Green Lights. If nobody, that was actually really good. It's Matthew McConaughey's book. I read, of course, Die with Zero, Thinking Big, Keys to Success, Attract Success and Abundance Hypnosis. Anything from Napoleon Hill. I've got everything from Napoleon Hill in my Great to Good is my next book up that I'll be starting here in Monday. Tell to Win, Sell or Be Sold. I love this book, How the World Sees You. Okay. And also How to Fascinate by Sally Hogshead. Those are incredible. And so an interesting story, it's very funny. So I had just finished these a few years ago, and this is a funny story. So another agent that somehow respected me, she was, I think, Cooper Sotheby's. I think she was trying to get me to Cooper Sotheby's a few years back. And she said, "Hey, Vanessa, I'm out of town. I just know that you would be able to help this high-end lease person." Okay, sure thing. Sure. $20,000 a month lease. If you're doing a $20,000 a month lease, you probably could afford to buy something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I get this person and have no idea who they are. Well, at the meantime, he says, "Look, I really need you to take my wife out." Great. So I end up taking his wife out. He came back and he said, like, she gave me everything she wanted to see. And then finally on the moment's notice, I said, "Hey, and any of those, Austin," I said, "Can I just take you where I think you would live?" And this is downtown. And she said, "Yes." And I took her to the Austonian on a moment's notice, called one of those Austin Elite 25 agents and said, "Hey, I got somebody right now. I really feel this is it. What do you got in here?" He's like, "Oh, I don't really have any for lease, but I have for sale." I said, "Great, perfect. I just want to show her a couple things for sale and what they look like." Do you know that I end up selling him a $3.8 million house?
I don't doubt it.
That's what we end up doing. And he's the CEO of Torchy's and owner.
Yeah. Great.
So, and then I did every single one of the entire executive team from Torchy's. Now, every now and then I reach out, and one of the people, they're like, "I don't know if this is a good decision." I said, "Hey, last year when it went up, I said, 'Hey, do you think it's a good decision now?' And I just sent her what her house looks like. I'm like, 'Hey, you know what? Only 3 more years. Think it's a good decision?' Because at 1.4 now, when we closed on the house was 1.8. Last year was 2.2, and now that house is almost 4 million.
That's crazy.
So be the person that is making sure you're making the good investment for your clients.
Yeah, I like what you said is you basically, after you spend some time with them, you said, "Look, you need to see this area, whatever the case may be," because circle back to what you're talking about, loving where you live, loving your space. So I'm sure I'm sure it's the Hill Country.
Yep.
You took them out there. They saw something they probably,
Spanish Oaks.
oh, yeah, they
Spanish
saw
Oaks.
something they never even imagined and fell in love.
Yeah. Somebody just asked me, how do you deal, and am I still speaking to the agent? Yes. How do I deal with rejections in real estate with agents and buyers? There is no rejection. They're not saying no. They're saying no to themselves, not to me.
Yeah.
It's okay. Maybe it's just not the right time for them. Whatever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
No.
care. Hey, if they don't want to work with me, I don't want to work with them. Great. Thanks. You just saved me a lot of time.
Yeah.
I don't take it personally.
Yeah, I like that. What Haas was saying is like remove, no is not even in the vocabulary. It's just next.
If you're
Move
taking
on.
things personally, you know what? I think every agent needs to read the 4 agreements. Every agent. If you're taking things personally, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Like if you're an entrepreneur and you're taking things personally, you're in the wrong business. The 4 agreements are never take anything personally, always do your best, never make assumptions. Oh shoot, I just lost the last one.
It'll pop in there.
Yeah.
Be impeccable with your word.
Yeah,
Always
be
do your
impeccable with your
best.
word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be impeccable with your word. I'm like, there's one other one. Hold on a second.
Robert knew that one.
Yeah. So if you're not doing those 4 things, then what are you doing in this business? What are you doing as an entrepreneur in general?
Yeah. That's
So
powerful.
I mean, that's really where it is. I mean, I read the 4 agreements 15 years ago.
Yeah, there it is right there. Thank you, Carlton. The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Man,
You know
so
what?
many
I also
nuggets.
do the artist way, guys. If you're stuck and you can't figure out what it is that you're passionate about, get a book called The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. I've done it 8 times in my life. 8 times.
Yeah.
Every time that I felt like, wait, I'm a little stuck, let me get back in there and do something. And I'm going to tell you, it's very painful going through some of those questions. So don't think the first time I did it that I was like, yeah, right, I'm not doing any of that. So I mean, we all have our different growing things, but
No, this is great. Gosh, I knew this hour was going to fly by. We're at the top of the hour, 9:55. If anybody has any last questions, go ahead and type in the chat or even open up your mic. But
I have a question, Ian.
go ahead, buddy.
This is Carlton.
hey, Carlton.
Hey, Vanessa, this has been an amazing webinar. They're always amazing. I shouts out to my special guests, my friend Jeffrey and my cousin Tara, who are on here. Question: if you had to get started over again, knowing what you know, what would you do first?
What would I do first? Go to a coffee shop. I'm a coffee shop junkie. Dead serious. I love coffee shops. Love them. Like absolutely love them. And I'm not talking Starbucks. I'm talking the cool, funky coffee shop down on the corner that's owned by a local person. That's where you get all the good juice of everything, not Starbucks. Yeah.
Yeah, because those people like it a little bit different. And you
Yep.
happen to be in one of those markets. So that's great. So let me ask you, let's leave everybody with this. What is your vision of EXP and what do we have in our hands right now? What's in front of us? Because I don't think people really realize the impact that this can have. Like,
Guys,
what's your parting message?
I'm going to tell you this. It's not a matter of if they're going to join, it's when. It's like foundations in Austin. It's not a matter of if you're going to have it, it's when you're going to have it. You don't want to be the one that's sitting out there in the back. So we have such an amazing opportunity. And I'm speaking to myself as I tell you guys this. If you're not out there sharing this, you're doing somebody else a disservice because you have no idea what they're going through in life. You have no idea. They can be the best dressed broke person on the other side. There is somebody coming over to our organization right now who is a top producer for another company who literally is about to go bankrupt, who is literally looking at filing bankruptcy because of the deals she signed with another brokerage.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You don't know. This company is a gift. You have a gift in your hand. Are you going to share it or are you going to hold it? That's the way it is. Are you going to share it?
That's it. Yeah.
We have an obligation to share. We have an obligation to share.
That's
So
right.
be that person sharing. Who cares if they say no? One day they'll come back to you. I have a person that speaks 5 languages. I've known her for 25 years. Okay. 25 years. She went to Compass because Compass offered her money. When I keeps going, why are you not coming to EXP? Why not? You could be in, and she's, well, it's just a little company. Well, now she speaks fluent Italian, fluent French, fluent Portuguese, fluent Spanish,
All the markets
and
we're in.
English. Why is she not over here yet? Because her ego won't let her come.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is on the tip of my mouth right there. Ego.
But I just keep showing her, hey, this is what's up. Her mother lives in London. Her sister is in the parliament in Italy.
Oh,
You don't think this person has clout?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's human collateral she doesn't realize.
I know.
She doesn't know what she doesn't know.
She doesn't know what she doesn't know. And look, she's met with everyone, but she just has her, whatever it is. So you never
Yeah.
know what people are fighting up against. Sometimes it's their own ego that says, man, I can't say yes now because I've told them no. So
What Brent Gove says, this isn't a
Yeah.
financial decision, it's an ego decision.
yeah, it's exactly what it is. So, I mean, I'm just honored and grateful that you guys have allowed me to come here and help share. And if there's anything I can do to help anybody else, if you want me to be that person on a three-way call, please, absolutely. If people don't think that you can be a 5-time icon agent, yes, you can. It's really easy. Know your damn numbers. That's as easy as it is. Know your numbers. Here's your start date. Here's how fast I got a cap. And here's how I got to do 20 more transactions. It's really that easy. So if you need me to break that down, I can show people that I am really good at showing people how they can do it and making them think that they can do it. You hang around me long enough, you're going to get whatever you want in your dreams. It's going to happen.
Yeah, right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Vanessa. We're at the top of the hour. We got
Thanks,
leadership
guys.
coming up, and we have iConversations at 10:30. So thank you so much. We'll be talking soon. And everyone, you guys have an amazing, blessed weekend.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate you.